Hey guys, I'm Al Washington and welcome to my Mystical Laws podcast. I am here with author Ilias Kakis and we're going to be discussing and talking about his latest dark fantasy gothic novella, Marcel Reeves, The Secrets of the Fifth Sense. So, Ilias, if you want to
Mhm.
go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me out. My name is Ilias. I work as a perfumer and I'm very excited to be introducing my debut dark fantasy, which is of course revolving around perfume.
Yeah, no, overall I love the cover of the book. Definitely a dark tone. I love it to pieces. So
Yeah,
just I was like I had to reach out, read your synopsis, I read a few pages already so far, and I just basically love the concept of the book.
thank
So
you.
yes, you're very welcome. And you mentioned you are a perfumer. So if you can tell me a little bit about that, because you said this is a heavy inspiration for the book
Mm.
Secrets of the Fifth Sense. Do you
Yeah.
create the fragrances yourself? If you want to kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I am a scientist turned perfumer. So I did like 2 degrees in science. So I did my human biology degree before progressing into microbiology and immunology, and then perfumery has been, well, scents in general as well has been part of my life, my childhood, where I grew up. And whilst doing those degrees, I held a number of roles in some major companies, and I kind of like started getting more and more into it. And eventually, I held numerous roles, from marketing to sales to education, but nothing fulfilled me as much as like creating fragrances. So I started getting deeper and deeper into it. And 10 years ago, giving away my age now, but yeah, approximately 10 years ago, I created my first fragrance. But then I didn't roll out the first fragrance to the market. I think it was not until 2021, just during COVID, I believe, or
Right.
before.
Mhm.
And then yeah, it kind of like took off from there. I launched my own companies. I stopped working for all the other companies, and I started creating fragrances. So I actually do all of the formulations myself. This is
Nice.
something that primarily, well, not primarily, predominantly, I basically, I learned from master perfumers. I've been very lucky learning under their guidance, which is something that's also is a very central concept to for my book. But yeah, so basically, and then from there on, I launched my own company and then I started creating fragrances for other brands as well as my own, which is called Ilia, and it kind of like took off from there. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride if I'm honest. And I never, I never sort of like anticipated I would end up here. So I never. If you asked me 5 or 10 years ago, Ilias, would you ever be a perfumer? I'd be like, no,
Um,
and but then here we are, it kind of like took off from a passion and kind of like ended up taking over whole of my life. And yeah.
if you mind me asking, so like, I guess you just wanted to create the fragrances because you wanted to give the human experience, I guess men and women, the
Mm,
sense of just, feeling relaxation, just a sense. I mean, I would, that seems like very interesting, unique
yeah.
field that you're in because me, if I was like you creating fragrances, I don't know, I wouldn't distinct the smell, meaning that I don't know if they smell the same, as like, is this different from the other? I don't know. I find it very
Mm.
unique. Like it's kind of like creating like potion making or something. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always believe that fragrance, holds the power to shift human behavior, mood, emotion, and perfumers, I mean, perfumers with significant experience know how to do that, There
Right.
isn't a absolute, method that will work 100% from person to person because every person is different,
Uh-huh.
and memories and the ability of recalling, actually, I was going to say, so memories and recalling and our experiences with certain scents are all very unique to us. So the same fragrance can actually induce not always the same or desirable effect to everyone, but for the major part, if we want to induce nostalgia, to a person, then we will always reach out for certain ingredients or combinations thereof. So, and it does work with other emotions as well. So, it depends on what we want to say really through the form and power of scent.
Interesting. Okay. I like that. All right. And off to my next question. So, how was it creating the world of Marcel Reeves and the world itself, like I said, for the novella? How was it getting into the mind of Marcel Reeves?
Yeah, so this is something that's been distilling in my head for the past 5 years or
Oh,
so.
wow. Yeah.
I've always wanted to write my own book. I always wanted to share my social fantasy. So, perfumery and storytelling are actually like really closely intertwined. It's almost like they go hand in hand. And in my eyes, you cannot have perfumery without storytelling, like period.
Mhm.
Because it's storytelling is very central to the very art of perfumery. And the whole sort of like concept of the book is basically about a perfumer who creates fragrances that can do magic effectively. So to
Mhm.
anybody that smells them, so even that person, the Marcel Reeves, obviously, is the main character,
Right.
and but they also have the ability to curse and kill people. So, and I think that's where kind of like the dark fantasy element comes in. So this touches upon the very fact that every scent, every fragrance can stir a particular emotion in us,
Right.
or basically play with our memories. And that's where the kind of like core concept is coming from. And the other thing is in this particular book, which is The Secrets of the Fifth Sense, obviously the fifth sense being the sense of smell or
Right.
olfaction.
Yeah.
What really comes in is basically Marcel travels to different realms, and some of them are realistic, like that there are cities like Paris. I mean, the book is based between Oxford and Paris. And Marcel travels to other realms which are completely like made up in a way, and that he has to kind of like solve puzzles or slay some monsters to harvest and obtain those ingredients, those enchanted ingredients he needs to make those fragrances. So much like to the experience and the work of a real perfumer, we and myself travel to, well, not to those realms, thankfully, but
Right.
and I say thankfully because they're very dark and dangerous. But
Yeah.
so we travel to different countries to source rare and expensive ingredients almost every year, especially the naturals, so the natural oils, and that's where I took the inspiration from.
Ah, okay.
So and much like Marcel as well, Marcel is looked after. He's being looked after and taken under the wing of a master perfumer where he learns that enchanted art of perfumery. So he learns how to create magic, not just use magic, but actually create it. And anybody that comes into contact with that scent, Marcel can actually curse or Marcel can bend the wheel of anybody that smells those fragrances, for example, or if he smells it, he can make, the different fragrances can make him fly or turn him invisible, or yeah, other things which
Right.
so yeah, and that's the core concept of it.
No, and based on what I reading, like I said, thus far in your book, you definitely have a lot of sensory and very visual, like I said, with this one. I can definitely
Mm.
tell very heavenly already. Your
Mm.
description and Marcel's obsession,
Oh yeah,
in a way, yeah.
definitely.
But like I said, and I'm sure other people are against him or jealousy and envy with it, but he's definitely like, yeah,
Yeah, you see, I'm glad that you mentioned that out because I don't want to like spoil it for everyone, but
right, right.
I don't think Marcel is a character to be liked. I don't think, I think
Yeah,
that's because, this particular book, I'm writing the main book
right.
as well, which I'm more than 120,000 words in now. So I'm wrapping it up after 3 years. It's just
Oh, wow.
finding the time. That's the
Exactly.
difficult thing. And the other sort of like, not like challenge, but I guess how. like my writing style is. I'm a very peripatetic writer, so
Mhm.
I'm very like environmentally stimulated. So I've got to kind of like, be in an environment in a mood to write. I can't just sort of like sit down and say, right, I'm gonna write 500 words. I can do it, but
Right.
I always find, and the feedback that I had is that when I feel kind of like stimulated, I'm in the mood, or I'm in an environment that inspires me, I
Hmm.
always find myself that not only I write better, but the words come to me much easier. So that's what I mean by peripatetic writer. And yeah, Marcel is definitely not a character to be kind of like liked so much.
Right.
He's a little bit, well, not a little bit, he's quite morally grey, but
Mhm.
once readers get a chance to read the main book when I eventually launch
Right.
it, they will feel for him big time because,
Right.
in this book you get snapshots of
Right.
Marcel's main kind of like storyline. But this book, The Secrets of the Fifth Sense, is almost like a tease. It's all of Marcel's side missions that he needs to complete
Ah, okay.
in order to progress, become stronger. And there's a reason why he does it. He's under threat. He needs to become stronger. He needs to kind of like fend for himself. He needs to protect himself because
Yeah.
there are several threats, both internal from the school and also external, without again spoiling too much. And
That's right. Right.
he needs to do something about it. And that's why he kind of like gathers those ingredients that he goes off his self, really, his morals, to kind of like get those ingredients and build those fragrances, create them, create that magic, and be able to protect himself with it. So, but yeah, reading this book alone, he's definitely not a main character to be liked so far.
Right. And you mentioned, Elias, that because this has been implanted in your head for years, and that definitely happens with us, especially with me, that if a good idea or something is
Mm,
shaping like seeds in our mind, like it's meant to bring it out for some reason, like just get it out of your head.
yeah.
It stays with you. It's like, wow, you keep thinking about it, you're writing it in your head. And then, yeah, I'm definitely glad
Mm,
I'm not the only one that feels that way. So yeah, you just said you've been on and off for like years with it, and you finally,
absolutely.
yeah, bringing it
Mm,
out, like I said, to the world. So absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I didn't want you to spoil too much, but no, definitely.
yeah.
So so basically you said that that inspires you to become a writer, correct? Like that literally lit a fire under your
Mm.
ass to really just bring it out.
Yes, absolutely. And I've always been in touch with writing because I do a lot of copywriting within
Hmm.
perfumery and the fragrance world. So when, brands approach me and they say, well, instead, not just sort of like formulating fragrances and full stop, but how can we actually bring it to life? So do a lot of the marketing side of things and the copywriting and the inspiration and the story. So that's something that's been very, very innate to me. And I've kind of like, I think everyone kind of like expected that I was going to write a book about perfumery and perfume, and I did, but not actually, how to build your own fragrance, or how, spilling all the secrets of the industry and
Right.
the hard end secrets of the industry, I should say. And yeah, I kind of like went, of course, and I said to myself, no, I want to do this. I always wanted to write my own book. I'm very drawn to that genre, dark fantasy and horror.
Oh
And I
yeah.
guess the reason why I chose my debut to be in that genre, and I always wanted to be in that genre, is because writing dark fantasy or horror, I believe I make people feel alive. I bring them to present.
Yeah.
I almost like humble them as well, because when you are afraid, you really think, oh, oh shoot, I'm what's going to happen to that main character? I'm concerned, and I guess my writing style is very dark and elegant and very kind of like realistic. So I love turning fiction into uh near reality, basically. So I
Yeah.
love writing magical realism that makes sense.
Hmm.
It's not like going from A to B and you're thinking, oh, it's just magic, it's fine. But magical realism that has strong reasoning and a big sense of reality and what's the word I'm looking for? Going through the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, reality and magic that makes sense, basically. And I love that. And yeah, definitely. This novella is very atmospheric. It's very evocative, like you mentioned at the start.
Right.
It's very cinematic, and yeah, I guess that is my writing style, I suppose. Yeah, I love it. It's just, I feel like it kind of like immerses readers right into it, and it's definitely like something that's hard to put down afterwards, I've been told.
All right. Nice. Okay. And you said, because you're working on another piece. I think you're working on something, I guess, during the holidays. I have another revision for my novella, but I'm taking a few days off so I can come back with it with fresh eyes. So I know with the holidays is coming up,
Mm.
Christmas and New Year's. Any special writing you're doing,
Mm.
or just simply just taking like a breather or a break?
To be honest, because obviously, my main line of work is
Hmm.
perfumery. I've been extremely busy with that because Christmas is always a very busy period for perfumery, perfumers,
Right.
fragrance, all sorts of fragrance. But there are some things that are distilling at the back of my head, and I do want to jump back into writing the
Right.
main book. Um, I don't know whether I'm going to bring another sort of novella out, some
Hmm.
more side missions, because there's definitely, if you think about it, this book focuses on the enchanted ingredients, and there are many enchanted ingredients
Right.
in the world of Marcel Reeves. So naturally, there are many adventures, a lot of drama that Marcel has to go through in order to secure them.
That's right.
So it would make sense to expand on these series as well, but I feel like I need to focus a little bit more on the main book
Right.
just to kind of like give readers a chance to understand the arc, Marcel's arc, because it's very important. There's a reason why he ended up being, the way he is, and complete the picture. Yeah. So, but at the moment, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not doing a lot of writing, so just distilling at the back of my head.
No, and there's nothing wrong with taking a break. Let's on a serious note, and absolutely just letting your mind refresh. And we got, like I said, we got other stuff going on in our lives and just in general. So I wish there was more time in the day, and
Mm,
there's not. So especially for me, like I said, when I'm working on mine, I'm creating the
mm.
world. It's going to take a whole lot out of me, which is going to be starting
Oh yeah.
next year. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like when you mentioned you're working on your main book as well as I'm working on a taste test
Mm,
for my first novella. But yeah, I wish there's more time in
mm,
the day. But I know, like I said, we have to, well, at least I do. I have to make the time or create it. But right now,
mm.
taking, I need to
A
take just a
break.
little,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Seriously, just anything, especially with the holidays, not just the holidays, just in general, because we do need to recharge. So at least, yeah, especially for me. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
it's very I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm glad that you brought this up because
right.
as much as I do love writing, it can actually be quite draining because you put so much in it, into the world building, into the
Yeah,
self-editing afterwards. So, that's something that I discovered when I was working on the debut dark fantasy, and I felt like, oh, I do love writing, but at the end of the day I was so like drained, and I
right.
noticed that. So yeah, I'm glad that you acknowledged that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I'm not like an expert, but it does help the creative process that, like I said, we do need to recharge, reset, and rejuvenate ourselves. Because heaven
Mm.
forbid, if like our phones are low on battery, we have no hesitation of recharging our phone
Yeah.
quickly. Oh my God, my phone, oh my God, 1% battery. But that needs to go for us as well, especially as creative writers. So I know, like I said,
Mm.
we do have to make the time. Whether if you can't, I wish I can write for like 8 hours a day. God knows I would just love to do this
Oh my
8 hours a
goodness.
day. But unfortunately, I cannot because I do have a day job, and hopefully that. Anyway, nothing. But
Mm.
what I'm saying is that whether it's an hour or 30 minutes to try to fit in is best, like I said, with your schedule, just in general. But at the same time,
Mm.
again, not to keep. Well, I am going to overstress it. We do need to recharge ourselves, and especially as creative.
Recharge.
Yeah, to get that out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree.
So, with that being
Mhm.
said, Elias, do you have any tips or pointers for those for writers in general, or for those who want to break in, or are scared to, or anything fear, anything holding them back? Do you have any tips or pointers?
Could you repeat the question? Because I think the my signal is not the best.
Oh, no, no, you're fine.
I
You
think
know, let me know
you
if you
got
can
cut
hear me. You're fine. Do
off.
you have any like tips or pointers for writers
Mm.
in general, or for those who want to break in?
Yeah, so this was something that I kind of like put a lot of thought and research into. And unfortunately, I didn't have anyone to kind of like assist me or help me or show me the ropes in any way.
Right,
So this is pretty much something that I basically discovered and learned through my own ways and basically became part of me. So my experience, I've been more than happy to share this with people so that they can basically avoid making the same mistakes.
right,
So, basically, what I would say is really take your time to perfect your draft. Don't feel rushed in any way. Don't kind of like promise any launch dates to anyone, or, don't kind of like feel, oh, I haven't, I've written 300 words today instead of 500 words. And so tomorrow I have to like write 700 words to catch up. It's good to have a bit of a discipline. I would say my first sort of like pointer or tip would be you need to build discipline. Writing is all about being loyal, I find, to yourself and to your work and to your, your laptop, your note, your notebook, your wherever you write, basically. And once you have a schedule, once you have a writing routine, your brain sort of like gets primed, and then I found that once I did like a 7 day routine saying, okay, I'm going to write between 7 and 8 o'clock in the evening, just 1 hour, it could be 30 minutes
right,
every day. But as long as it's like on the same, more or less in the same hour every day, your brain starts getting primed and saying, oh, this is writing time. Let's go and hammer those 500 words, or it could be 1,000 words, or it could be 200 words. So that's like number one. Number two is make sure that you have like a clear picture of the budget. And that's something that I would stress like hugely, especially
right,
if you are self-publishing, which is what I've done. So make sure like how much you will, but do all the calculations, how much you'll need for the editing, for the cover, for the kind of like doing all the marketing, which obviously I know most writers don't talk about the marketing budget,
very
but
important.
make sure that you factor that in, and be kind of like ready to deal with any kind of like hiccups along the line. So leave room, within your budgeting, allow it 10% kind of like so we say extra, on top of that, once you budget everything up. But yeah, I feel, once you have a clear writing routine, not only it will help you finish your work faster, but it will kind of like take you to the next level. And then once you feel, oh, that's actually another tip what I was going to say. Make sure that make sure that you set kind of like achievable targets for every day. So, for example, don't go like today I'm going to write a whole chapter. No, I feel like that's not the way to go. It hasn't been the way to go for me. I said to myself, I'm going to write down basically whatever I can. I'm going to aim for 250 words a day, something achievable, because when you set yourself small, achievable goals, you achieve them easier, and therefore that builds your confidence a lot faster and basically more consistently, so you can carry on and doing your work. So that's what I did. That's what really helped me. So solid writing routine. So to sum up, a solid writing routine, one that you can follow and you are loyal to, and make sure that you have a second tip, make sure that you have a solid budget in time and a
Right.
solid idea of the budget, and I think those will be my top tips, if you like, my winning formula, if you like to call it, because I went from nothing to a novella in literally 11 weeks. And I've been writing the mini book for coming up to 3 years now, which
Wow.
is insane. I wrote 46,000 words in like just a bit under 11 weeks and I launched it. So there you
Nice.
go. It's crazy, isn't it? And all,
Yeah.
that was all done through having a solid writing routine and setting small, achievable targets every day.
Yeah. God bless you, man. And again, congratulations, like I said, because I can't definitely wait to finish your book, which I'm almost there. So I definitely do appreciate that,
I
Ilias. And thank
appreciate
you
that.
for taking the time to hanging out with me. Definitely. Thank you very much. I know both our schedules are crazy as hell right now, or just in general. So, and lastly, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a website which is called www.marcelreeves.com. That is the universe of Marcel Reeves. So there's a little bit of lore there on the website. So for example, people can go and look at the enchanted ingredients, which are very, again, realistic to the real ingredients that we use in perfumery, but
Right.
they obviously, those Marcel's ingredients do other things. So the book is available now on Amazon. I think
Mhm.
definitely in the US,
Right.
UK, whole of Europe. And yeah, I think those will be the two. Oh, and TikTok, it's Ilias Kakis, author, I believe, or author Ilias Kakis. But yeah, those are my socials. I'm trying to be as active as possible. I also discovered that, once I basically wrote my book, launched it, I was like, brilliant, that's great. Then I realized that now I have to sell it and promote it. So I was
I
thinking,
know.
oh, I have to do
I hear that. I mean, yeah,
that.
that's the most important part.
So
Yeah, we have to market,
there
especially
we
about
are.
publishing. Yeah, it's a lot.
So I've got to do the marketing for it, which, I prefer writing to marketing, but it is essential. So yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been an absolute ride and I'm very grateful for it. And once again, thank you for having me
Of
on your podcast.
course. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you. And guys, definitely check it out. Marcel Reeves, Secrets of the Fifth Sense. Definitely get your copy today. And you guys all have a good day, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.